Yeah, I'm dancing in the tree. What are you gonna do about it? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Death and Destiny. I'm Death from Above. Today we're gonna do a Sunbreaker class rundown. I was requested to take a look at the Sunbreaker class, talk about each perk, talk about the uses, and just do a general rundown. So this will just be my my class rundown for the Sunbreaker Titan. So let's get into it. The Sunbreaker Titan subclass. It reads, Forge the Fury of Undying Suns. I like how they finally unlocked the third subclass. You had to do a little short quest to get it. It was kind of just a fun quest that showed you how to use the subclass. But it was really cool. But let's get into the Sunbreaker. First we have the grenades. You start off with the fusion grenade. This is nothing new. We had this on the Warlock before, so you should be pretty familiar with it. Next is the thermite grenade. This is probably the grenade that most people are using because it is new. Basically, you throw the grenade out, it shoots a line of fire out that pulses maybe 4 or 5 times and then goes away. So you can kind of lock down an area or shoot flames forward for a couple seconds. Do a little area control. I think in terms of PvP with this, or if you have a good bit of enemies in PvE lined up coming for you, this would be a pretty good thing to throw at them. Next is the incendiary grenade. These are not new either. Catches enemies on fire, giving them a fire DOT, and causing damage over time. It's pretty cool. I like the thermite grenade, but fusion grenade has its purpose, as does the incendiary grenade. I actually like the incendiary grenade the most because you can get that dot on them, and then in PvP you can track where they're going, so it's kind of helpful there. The next is the jump. We have lift, increased height, increased control, and catapult. Nothing new here. These are basic Titan jumps. So if you're familiar with the Titan, you're familiar with these jumps. This one will give you more height. This one will give you much greater distance and control while in the air. And this one will give you an initial burst of movement. So these are not new. Next, the Hammer of Soul, the main Titan fun gun, whatever you want to call it. The big old flaming hammer. There it is. So you summon a flaming hammer and wreak destruction upon your enemies. This is your super. It's fun. The options for the super, you got Forge Master, throw more hammers, and hammers cause bigger explosion. I'll leave it on this one because I like throwing the hammer. Sun Charge, so if you press shoulder, it's like basically a shoulder charge version, or a Sunbreaker version of the shoulder charge while you're in super, but it's much more powerful. Basically, when you're supered, you hit RB, you fly forward, and it's a pretty good distance you fly forward, and you do damage to anybody that's in your path. So it's really cool. I like it. If you can get Melting Point on a boss and then do Sun Charge, you do a lot of damage. Then we get to Scorched Earth. Ignite the world, creating sunspots everywhere your Hammer of Soul impacts. I haven't used this too much. Basically, if you throw your hammer, it creates a sunspot, and you can have other perks tied to it. We'll get to those in a minute, but that creates the sunspot. Then the melee is called Sunstrike. Burn your enemies with the heavy solar melee strike. This is where you get Melting Point. So if you hit them with the Melting Point, if you melee them with Melting Point, it applies a buff or a debuff to the enemy where the target is weakened to you and your allies. Basically, you do crit damage no matter where you shoot them, and you do more damage. It's really, really good on bosses. It definitely melts away their defenses. Then we have Thermal Vent. Sunstrike releases a solar explosion on hit. Kills create a sunspot that damages enemies. I'm pretty sure my gauntlets, no, that's explosive pyre. We'll get there. Slow down, Death. You're getting ahead of yourself. So we got Thermal Vent and Sunstrike, release a solar explosion on hit, kills, create a sunspot. So this will give you a sunspot from your melee and give you an explosion on hit. It's pretty cool. Then we have Stoke the Forge, also known as Stroke the Forge, a la Mr. Fruit. Reduce Sunstrike cooldown, getting a killing blow with Sunstrike, instantly recharges it. If you combine this with Cauterize, you can be almost reviving your health every time you punch something, as long as you know what you punch is going to die. It's really good. I leave it on Stoke the Forge for most of PvE. For PvP, I'll probably change it up to go to one of the probably Thermal Vent. But for PvE, I like Stoke the Forge. And then we have the codexes. We got the Titan Codex here. Basically modifies your armor, recovery, and agility. 2 columns. Can modify it however you choose. But let's get to the interesting perks. We got Flame Seeker. Your Hammer of Soul will alter its flight path to seek out your enemies. So basically your hammer curves to catch somebody. It's pretty cool. It's got basically a little bit of tracking. If you know the Warlock's Nova Bomb, the way it tracked, it kind of is the same thing. Explosive Pyre, enemies felled by your hammer explode, chaining fiery solar damage to others. So basically, you kill somebody with your hammer, they explode, they deal damage to other people. My gauntlets, the Immolation Fists, actually grant this without me having to unlock it. So I like using the Immolation Fists a lot. And then we have Fleet Fire. Enemies felled by your fire grant you bonus agility and reload speed that stacks up to 3 times. This is similar to the Hunter perk, where you can get the bonus when you get the precision kills, you get the bonuses. Then we have Simmering Flames. When your super is full, grenade and melee abilities charge twice as fast. It's pretty cool. If you're running strikes, this is something to consider using because you may not be running your super all the time. And if you want to do melee and grenades, definitely want to use Simmering Flames. Then we have Cauterize, something I use a lot. Enemies brought down by your fire regenerate your health. So if you use your hammer, if you use your punch, if you use your grenade, this will regenerate your health on the kill. Very, very useful in PvE, especially if you're trying to lone wolf a lot of stuff. I find that comes in very, very handy. Then we have Firekeeper. If you're standing on a sunspot, you gain an overshield and Hammer of Soul lasts longer. So this, you got to tie this to this. So if you chain Scorched Earth with Explosive Pyre or Flame Seeker or Thermal Vent and Firekeeper, you can do some massive, massive amounts of damage. So you can stand in that sunspot, you can be dang near invincible, you can hammer him soul like crazy. So Scorched Earth, Firekeeper is a boss defeater. Haha, I'm a poet, I didn't know it. So there you go, guys, that's the Sunbreaker subclass. Do a quick rundown. I've done the rundown on all the other subclasses minus the new Hunter and Warlock subclasses. I need to get those finished out. So expect to see those in the near future. But that's all I got on the Sunbreaker. What do you think? Do you enjoy your Sunbreaker? I want to know. Tell me in the comments below, what is your main character? Do you do Titan, Warlock, or Hunter as your main? I do Titan because it's what I started with. It's what I think is the most fun, and it's what I enjoy. So I'm going to dance it out. You guys have a great day. I really appreciate the views. Thanks so much for watching. I say it every time and I mean it every time. I am Death from Above. I'm dancing it out. I will see you later. See you. Bye.